Hi, everybody. Welcome back. This is the Deficient Vegans Podcast. If you've been with us before, you might be doing a double take right now. Yes, this podcast was formerly known as the VeGAINS Fitness and Nutrition Podcast, and now it is called Deficient Vegans. I'm the Muscle Deficient Vegan here with the Protein Deficient Vegan. Do you want to say hi?
Hi.
Hi. So we're just two so-called deficient vegans here to help you learn how to thrive on plants, stay fit, eat amazing food, and laugh at all the vegan stereotypes we all hear along the way. So just to give a little bit of history on how we started putting out content and how the brand evolved over time a little bit. We started out as VeGAINS Fitness and Nutrition as the podcast and the Instagram and even the website and all that stuff. And we weren't really sure which direction we wanted to go with it.
But we liked the pun.
Yeah, the pun was good. Vegan. Then we a little later found out that's actually like a fairly common pun.
Right,
So
yeah.
that was a little bit of a problem too, because you search VeGAINS and there was kind of a lot of stuff out there.
Yeah.
But
Shirts.
Lots of shirts.
Lots of shirts.
Yeah. Also, one of the things that started happening is we thought originally maybe I was going to post a lot of fitness things and then you would have some things to post, but it actually turned out you got super into recipes and filled up the whole feed with like vegan recipes.
Yeah.
And that was really cool. But it turned into the whole feed, and then occasionally I would start posting a fitness video, and then all the people who are following this account, like, oh, I'm following this recipe account, suddenly see like a deadlift video. and it was a little confusing. And it's also kind of confusing for two different people to post on the same account, especially when it's about different topics. So you'd be in there with like your pretty fingernails doing, recipes and stuff. And then I've got like chalk and deadlift straps. And it's just like,
it was confusing. We didn't know what we were doing.
Right. So we ended up feeling that like the recipe thing should be a dedicated account to give you room to like grow into that, be more flexible and have a little more freedom without having to worry about, am I going to lose people when you post fitness videos and things like that?
Yeah, that was like the worry.
Right. So it also helps replace the search results for protein deficient vegan. So it's a funny name, a great pun, and helps combat some of the vegan myth stuff that we like to do anyway.
Yeah, because 2 years ago, when you would search protein deficient vegan, you'd get like WebMD or whatever talking about how vegans are protein deficient, and you'd get some memes and stuff. But now you get my recipes. Yeah,
WebMD, Healthline, things like that. And we were originally like, wow, I don't think anybody's ever going to find you when they type into Google. But now you're obviously the number one result. The whole first page is like your stuff. So you've got your recipe blog on social media. You mostly post about recipes and food. You have a lot of really cool infographics now. So what got
I learned Canva.
Yeah. You're like a Canva pro. So. What made you interested in the vegan recipes though?
Well, I guess for me, I was vegetarian for a really long time, and I got a lot of my protein from like eggs, really, and like cheese and stuff, but I didn't really mess with tofu, didn't even know about TVP, didn't really know about seitan. So when I went vegan like 5 years ago, I was like, what do vegans cook for protein? Like I had no idea, and I like searched for high protein vegan recipes, and there weren't that many.
Yeah.
So I just started cooking more stuff and like learning how to use different things. And I don't know, felt like there was, not saying there aren't any high protein vegan recipes already existing, but it felt like maybe there was like a gap for more.
Right. Yeah, and you're also filling in some gaps in general because like now when you search Google for stuff like high protein loaded fries, like those people aren't necessarily looking for vegan things, but you're still like the first, second, third result on most days. So you're filling in gaps in high protein things that aren't typically high protein.
Right.
In addition to obviously making a great high protein vegan website.
Yeah. It's like the regular high protein crowd has their cottage cheese, but we have silken tofu.
Right.
Which you can use almost the same way.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun.
And even people who aren't vegan should use a lot of tofu.
Absolutely. Or vital wheat gluten.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that when I was vegetarian, so...
Yeah, I've thought a lot about how annoyed I am that I didn't really understand these options when I wasn't a vegan, because there's a lot of stuff you can eat that isn't like the typical omnivore type protein.
Right.
Or whatever.
Yeah, that's phase 3. Take over the non-vegan world with our vegan proteins.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
there's a lot of things we can use soy for.
Oh, yeah. Soy and vital wheat gluten's crazy.
Yeah, for sure. So after you made that account, I kept using the VeGAINS account that we had for a little while. But then we'd have an issue where you would try to show like your association to that account and people would just be like, what is a VeGAINS? I don't understand what this is. And so that still was a little confusing. And then also, I wanted a cooler name too, because I was really jealous about the protein deficient vegan thing. So basically partially plagiarized it and just changed it to muscle deficient vegan to make it fitness related. So I think that does a better job of showing we're associated, but still showing how we're different.
Yeah, absolutely.
It seemed to be pretty effective. So I think it worked out.
Plus muscle deficient vegan's funny too.
Yeah. And on my end, I've had an interest in fitness and nutrition stuff for a really long time. I started going to the gym with my dad like a long time ago. He got super into it for a while. Even I think when I was in, I don't know, late middle school, high school, I would be in there not knowing what I was doing, obviously, but like go in the circuit room or do some bench press or whatever while he was working out. So that was a lot of fun. And then over the years, I've been in and out of the gym a lot. It's always been an anchor for me, like something I try to do consistently. So
that's why your legs are so strong.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've always had an interest in that. So I really like sharing information about it. And I think there's a lot of things that people can learn out there. There's a lot of information that it's not necessarily misinformation, because a lot of the stuff you hear about fitness and nutrition are true on some level, but there's a lot of nuance that I think it's really helpful to be able to show people how to navigate. So when you're trying to understand what thing is best for me, that might be different than what's best for somebody with totally different goals. Anyway, that's the kind of thing I post about on the muscle deficient vegan side.
Yeah, and I think you have an interesting perspective because you weren't vegan until you moved in with me.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I've got experience with being a gym guy for, I don't know, a decade or two before I was vegan. And now I can see, like, going into veganism, first of all, I see all the things that I used to think maybe about veganism. I never really had negative thoughts, but I was like, oh, was that like the best thing? Is that
He made fun of me.
One time. And it was more like a flirting thing.
Oh, okay. I bring it up relentlessly.
Yeah, anyway.
Actually, he was really nice. In high school, when I was vegetarian, he always found ways to find me vegetarian food. So he's always been supportive.
Yeah. Yeah, so I also want to help other people that are maybe not vegan yet and thinking about it and thinking those same things I did, like, okay, do I need to eat this stuff? Or like, what happens if I try to be vegan and I still want to grow muscle? Like, can I do that?
Soy boobs.
Oh, God, yeah. All the stigma around soy is like super bad and like super nonsense. Like, again, it's one of those things, there's an inkling of truth in there, and things like plant anti-nutrients.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, okay, plants have some anti-nutrients. It's not enough to do anything useful to a human.
You should still eat plants.
Right? So anyway, yeah, there's a lot of nuance out there that I really like to try to help people understand what's best for what they're trying to do. So.
Oh, and you got your certifications.
Right. Yeah, I'm actually a certified personal trainer, certified USAW Olympic weightlifting coach level 1.
Yeah.
So
at some point he will be taking people.
Yeah. And then we have now the Deficient Vegans Podcast, which is just a nice space for us to be able to bring our two interests together and have conversations and talk about all the different things around veganism specifically, but also fitness and nutrition and how that applies to like practical everyday life.
Yeah. He's the main character. I'm like a little side quest on some things.
You're far more entertaining than me, though, so it's really helpful. All right, so appreciate you sticking through that. Just wanted to give you a little backstory on how we have evolved what we're trying to do here over time and explain the reasoning for the change of name in the podcast.
How we got a better name.
Yeah, better name. I think it's an objectively better name than VeGAINS Fitness and Nutrition Podcast. It was a little clunky, but, it sounded good in my head when we first started. So.
Oh, and we got a cooler logo, which is really obviously the most important thing.
Yeah. We're going to have to put a link to the person that's designed our logos for us at some point.
She's really awesome. Badass.
Yeah, really cool. All right. So the main topic for today is busting fitness myths. So we've got a couple myths to go through here. A couple of them are vegan specific. A couple of them are just general fitness myths. The first one is you can't build muscle on a vegan diet. So wrong, obviously. And you can kind of address this one both with like, if you want to do the evidence-based thing, there are a lot of studies around this, especially in the last couple of years. There's effectively no difference in the actual outcome of muscle building between vegans and non-vegans when they actually put them in a lab, watch what they eat, have them work out for a couple of weeks, usually in a study, sometimes a little longer. But you can also go out to a website like Great Vegan Athletes and just see the vegan athletes that are like elite in their sports. There's like vegan bodybuilders, vegan strength athletes, and then also
like football players, right?
Tennis, like every sport you can think of, there's somebody doing it at a really high level that is a vegan.
Go watch Game Changers.
Yeah, Game Changers is a great movie on Netflix.
Especially that part about erections.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend that part. That was pretty persuasive.
I sent him that clip before he watched the whole movie.
I sent that clip to a buddy of mine to try to get him to watch the movie, but he didn't really take the bait on that. So, yeah.
I'm just imagining the song Wood, vegan version.
Well, that's a very timely reference.
Sorry, we're just listening to a lot of Taylor Swift.
So, like I said, you can go look at actual athletes. There are studies on this. But if you were just generally still worried about the protein quality on a vegan diet, you can stick mostly to soy and protein blends. But really, as long as you're hitting your protein goals, this isn't really a problem. And I should say, like, the studies where they checked the vegans, that isn't a situation where the protein is equaled, right? Like, you can't have a vegan out here eating 50 grams of protein a day and compare it to a non-vegan eating 200 grams of protein a day.
Right.
That's not really how it works. So as long as the protein number is equal, then there's really no difference in muscle growth. Okay, the next myth here is that cardio kills gains. So if you're not familiar with the term, basically what people are concerned about is, if I do cardio, will that make my muscle growth worse, or will that take away my muscle growth? So this is not really a thing for almost anybody. If you're a bodybuilder, maybe doing cardio directly after your workout could slightly make your muscles not grow quite as much as they would, but it's really hard to measure the impact of that. So it's not very strong.
Feels like a false narrative spread by big heart disease.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, even if that was a thing and it was like a 10-20% impact on your muscle growth, I think the benefits of cardio still outweigh that impact for almost everybody, right? Like, you're making your heart stronger, you're making your lungs stronger. It's just better for your general health to have much better cardio than it is to have slightly more muscle gain in the long run. So one kind of practical thing, though, I like to do cardio after my workout, even though there might be a little bit of this impact, because if you do cardio before your workout, you're really just going to be super tired in most cases, and your workout's not going to go quite as well. So I like to do it afterwards or on a different day, or even if you want to do it before your workout, you can do it like in the morning. If you have a workout later that afternoon, whatever. Worst case, you can do it right after. It's not going to have really anything that's going to change your life in any meaningful way. So basically do it whenever you want, but I wouldn't recommend doing it right before your workout. Third myth, we see a lot of discussion around this, but I think it's more from like non-vegans trying to make a point. But the myth is that vegan diets automatically make you healthy. And I mean, that's kind of obviously not true, right? You can have junk food on a vegan diet just as well as you can have junk food not being a vegan, especially these days where there's a lot more vegan snacks accessible than there used to be.
Yeah. But there's also the myth that like all vegan food is processed chemical loaded garbage, which is like, come on.
Yeah, I don't really exactly understand what people are even talking about when they say that, because most vegan food you could go grow in a garden in your backyard. So, I mean, obviously, if you're going down the cookie aisle or something and you're grabbing vegan cookies, that's just as bad as non-vegan cookies from a health perspective. You know.
And even like vegan meats are probably just as bad as like regular meat.
Yeah, but see, when you say vegan meat, people think tofu. What we really mean is like a Beyond Burger.
Right.
Like those are
more processed.
Yeah, super processed things. But like something like a tofu or a seitan, if you're using that as a meat replacement, that's like one ingredient. So it's not usually a huge deal. I would say stick mostly to whole foods wherever possible. There's this trick you can do at the grocery store where you stick to like the perimeter of the grocery store, because that'll keep you mostly in the produce section and like the vegan milks section and stuff like that. So as long as you don't go into the aisles with the pretty boxes that are basically marketing manipulation to get you to buy them, and we do, then you're going to be having mostly whole foods. So
still, I don't want to demonize like Beyond.
No,
or
for
like,
sure.
you know.
Yeah, we have Beyond sometimes, Impossible sometimes. But it's just, you have to understand like which things are healthy and why. And usually it almost all boils down to calories for the most part.
Yeah.
Saturated fat, also an important thing to keep an eye on. All right. And then the last myth we have there is you have to train every day to build muscle. So how many days a week you train is something we call frequency. So there are a lot of things that go into this, but the big one is experience level. So a beginner who's just starting to work out, and by beginner, I mean somebody who's like only been working out consistently for like less than 2 years. You're still kind of in the beginner phase there. So as a beginner, you can work out just 2 days a week and get really good results. If you try to do 1 day a week, you'll get results. But going from 1 to 2 will like almost double probably your results. But going from 2 to 3 doesn't double it again. You get like a little more going from 2 to 3, almost none more going from 3 to 4 as a beginner especially. So typically the reason we change frequency is just because of the volume you need for a muscle. So volume means how many sets do I need for this muscle to grow. So if you're talking about biceps, and maybe you want to do 20 sets of curls in a week, that's your volume for curls.
How many shake weights?
Ooh, how many shake weight sets? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
You'd probably have to do 300 sets of shake weights to get really good results.
Dude, that shit's hard. Have you ever tried a shake weight?
No, but just because you get tired doesn't mean that it's really working out the muscle. What muscle does a shake? Let me
Dude,
forearm?
Your bicep, your forearm, and your tricep. It's no joke.
Oh, because you're doing the whole, if you do the hand motion, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and it feels heavier because, of momentum and whatnot.
Yeah. Maybe if you started, it might be viable if you could like strap extra weights onto the side of the shake weight.
But they make a 5-pound one instead of the normal 2.5-pound one.
And they make like a 35-pound one?
No, that'd be insane.
Yeah. So you probably need a high volume shake
He's
weight.
going to try doing a shake weight this week and we'll see how he feels.
So, yeah, so if you were trying to do 20 sets of curls, the idea is you probably wouldn't want to do that all in one day, right? Like that would be very tiring. Your last 10 sets, probably, maybe even more, would be pretty much what they call junk volume, which is like you're not really putting in the effort anymore that makes it make sense.
And your desire to live is just diminishing rapidly.
That too. So, and that is a big part of it also. So maybe if you wanted to do 20 sets of curls, you'd split that up into at least 2 days. You do 10 sets each day. But first of all, for beginners, you don't need 20 sets of almost anything. But some advanced people could need maybe 20 sets, 30 sets of every muscle group, right? So if you're trying to do 20 sets of biceps, 20 sets of triceps, 20 sets of quads, and everything else all in the same week, you're going to have either a super long workout or you can work out like every day. And then sometimes if you're really advanced, actual competitive bodybuilder, you'll have a lot of days where you're doing 2 workouts a day. And that's all just to fit in that volume in a way that makes sense. It doesn't really matter if you do that volume in 2 days or 4 days. It's just usually a matter of like how much time do you want to spend in the gym? Mm-hmm. And then like also, are you recovering, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say like for a beginner, you could probably go 2 days a week. Try for most muscle groups to get somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 to 12 sets a week. You're going to get really good progress for a year or 2, maybe.
Beginner gains.
That's right. So in our future episodes, we're going to try to cover maybe 1 to 2 myths a week in a small section called the Myth of the Week.
Yeah.
So maybe that'll be fun, something to look forward to.
Yeah, I think next week we're covering Zeus, aren't we?
Zeus? Oh. Yeah, I mean, I guess if we ever need to pivot, we'll change it into
Send in your ideas.
Greek myth of the week. Send in your ideas is actually a great segue because our next section here is actually listener Q&A. So we have this fancy thing in the show notes where you click on it and it says send us a text.
And then no one ever does.
That's not true. We have one here.
We have one.
Well, we took it down for a while. Okay, so the thing about this send us a text thing is it's not a text we can reply to. So we can only reply to it on the show here. And I didn't really realize that at first. So I took it down for a little while and now I put it back. But we do have one that got sent in to us. It doesn't have a name. It just says it's from Indianapolis, Indiana.
Okay.
So they asked, what protein powder do you use? I bounce around and I'm not sure if it's a good choice or not.
I like Orgain vanilla.
Yeah.
And I like Earth Chimp vanilla, but Earth Chimp is a little grittier.
Earth Chimp is a little grittier. Also, you have a code for Earth Chimp?
I do.
If you go to the Earth Chimp site, just put in Protein Deficient Vegan as a discount code. You get 10% off. We'll also put it in the show notes here in case you want to use the link directly to it, whatever. Yeah. You don't have to buy Earth Chimp, but if you want to buy Earth Chimp, we've got 10% off for you.
I like it in smoothies.
Yeah.
I don't really like it as like a straight up shake. That's usually where I would use Orgain, but like in smoothies, it blends up really nice and has a nice subtle sweetness.
Yeah. The one I like a lot is the Ghost. So Ghost Protein has a couple of vegan flavors. They're mostly like chocolate cereal milk, normal cereal milk. The one I really like is the vegan Cinnabon flavor.
Ugh.
For some reason, she doesn't even like the smell when I open it.
The smell of it makes me want to die. I don't know. He says it's good.
Yeah, I put it in my
People like it.
My oatmeal most of the time. And it's also really nice in a shake because it's kind of light. It's not like one of those thick, like milkshakey type ones. It's like a really light cinnamon taste. I don't know. I really like cinnamon.
It makes you happy. It can't be that bad.
There you go.
That's what Sheryl Crow said.
Those are the ones we like to use. A lot of other good options out there. But yeah, I think Ghost, Orgain, or Chimp, the ones we pretty much keep in the house.
Yeah, we recently tried the Just One protein powders that are from the brand that makes Just Egg. Those are interesting. It's like a super fine mung bean powder, so it bakes and cooks a lot differently than normal protein powder, but
yeah,
I do have a couple recipes coming out on those.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that one's a little pricey. Oh, speaking of price, My Protein also makes a pretty good couple of vegan proteins. They're not like my favorite, but the good thing about my protein is they're almost always running sales for like 30-40% off. So if you're just trying to get the best bang for your buck, I think they're almost always the best option. But Ghost isn't too far behind, especially if you use the auto subscribe and then use your Earthchimp discount code that gets it pretty close in line too.
Yeah.
Cool. And the Orgain is always pretty well priced because that's like the OG vegan protein powder.
Yeah, I think it's like 14 grams of protein $1 or something. I did the math on them recently.
Yeah. Cool.
Still not as good as Vital Wheat gluten, but you don't want to put that in a shake.
Yeah, so if anybody else has any questions they want to send in, send us a text link in the show notes, and we'll try to read out your question here on the next show we see it on, and we'll give you an answer. Next up, you got a lot of new recipes that have been getting posted recently, and it's been a while since we've done one of these podcasts.
A long time.
Yeah.
I have many recipes since then.
Yeah, I think we can probably talk about at least a couple here.
Yeah. I think like the main thing I've been doing a lot with recently is Vital Wheat gluten.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but I just really like experimenting with it. A lot of people use it for meat substitutes, but I've been doing a lot of baking with it and making bready things with it. So some of my favorite things lately have been my high protein bread, which is really easy to make, whether you have a Dutch oven or not. You could also use a loaf pan. We made bagels recently, and those were really fun.
Those were really good.
They were like around 30% protein.
Yeah.
Pretzel bites with Vital Wheat gluten. Those were really good too.
Yeah.
And then, I've been doing a lot of like dessert seitan. So like chocolate seitan, banana bread seitan, pumpkin spice seitan. I sound a lot like Bubba from Forrest Gump, naming off all of my shrimp dishes.
Seitan gumbo, seitan
dessert seitan. But yeah, if you want to mess around with seitan and Vital Wheat gluten, you should go check out my site.
Yeah. And, also a lot of really cool new pictures on the site from all your new camera skills.
That's true, yes. Since the last time we were on, I took a photography class and a videography class. So I have improved those a lot. And now I get called out for AI all the time, but they're not AI. I took them with a camera. Yeah. We even made like a fake table to shoot on with like boards we got from Home Depot and stain. So yeah.
Good times.
Having a lot of fun.
Cool. Yeah, so if you enjoyed today's episode or you want to know more about maybe the recipes or the fitness content, subscribe to the podcast, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. I think is probably the one that's most impactful, but you can leave us a review wherever the hell you want, or don't leave us a review at all. We appreciate it. Share it with your vegan or even non-vegan friends. If you have any vegan curious friends.
Yeah, just annoy the shit out of your non-vegan friends. They like that.
They like that a lot, yeah. So also, we've got our social media profiles linked in the show notes. Definitely recommend following Protein Deficient Vegan on Instagram if you're even wanting a little bit of protein in your vegan diet, because she's got a lot of great recipes, and actually a lot of recipes that other people don't have. You've invented a couple of things over the years. So.
TVP muffins.
Yeah, TVP muffins.
They're the future.
That's true. Man, those are so good. All right. And if you want to send in any feedback about the podcast or topic request or anything like that you might want to hear about, you can send us a text link or reach out to us basically anywhere you find us.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, we appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next time. You want to say bye?
Bye.
Bye, everybody.